And Jamil Hill says by the time Angel Reese is done, she's going to be the Michael Jordan of WNBA.
She said about Angel Reese?
She said Angel Reese, by the time she retires, can you pull up this quote? She said, by the time she retires, she will be the MJ.
Stephen A. Smith just lost it on national television, and Angel Reese was the reason why. After yet another stunt aimed at Caitlin Clark, Stephen A. didn't just criticize her, he torched the entire league.
I'm not going to ignore, nor am I going to take my eyes off of what transpires with the WNBA over the next 2 weeks while Caitlin Clark is out with the quad strain. And the reason why is because, let me tell you something right now, I'm not going to go to word hate. I'm not going to be out there like RG3 was saying that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark or other players hate Caitlin Clark. But I will say this, I don't think it's specific about Caitlin Clark. I think it's what Caitlin Clark represents.
From resentment in the locker room to jealousy boiling over on the court, this wasn't about one player, this was a warning shot. But what exactly did Angel do to set him off? Angel Reese has never been shy about her feelings toward Caitlin Clark.
Last year, you made a powerful statement saying the reason people are watching women's basketball is not just because of one player, but because of you too.
I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too.
A year later, do you feel like you're
Next question.
From the moment Clark entered the WNBA, the spotlight followed. Cameras, fans, sponsorships, and national headlines. And while many saw it as a game-changing moment for women's basketball, some saw something else, a threat. That's where the resentment began. And according to Stephen A. Smith, it's reached a breaking point.
When it was really all said and done, we know what she brings to the table. But people wanted to hate because why? You had a bunch of players in this league that watched this young white girl come along and take the league by storm, and they resented it because they saw the marketing prowess that she had.
This time, the drama erupted after Angel Reese appeared to downplay Caitlin Clark's achievements. Again, whether it's brushing off Clark's records or throwing subtle shade in interviews, Reese has built a pattern. And while some call it competitiveness, Stephen A. called it what it really is, bitterness.
The fact of the matter is that it has to start somewhere. And if it starts somewhere, a rising tide lifts all boats. You jump on that tide, you jump on that boat and elevate and use them to elevate your play or to elevate the attention you garner. It's very simple, but people didn't want to do that. There was a lot of people that didn't want to do that. Let's call it what it is. I ain't gonna mention no names, but y'all know who they are, and they didn't want to do that. And I'm not talking about players and just players, so about announcers too.
Not just from Angel Reese, but from many veterans and stars in the league.
For us to get just constantly shit on, you can't even acknowledge the growth and how amazing the WNBA is doing because shit like this happens. You didn't even have to bring up the W. If you're gonna say that it's for that, then stand on that. But I don't think I think he's trying to make a business decision, which he's a businessman, that makes sense. But to mask it in this, I want to uplift and support WNBA players and women athletes is kind of a cop-out, I think, and I don't think it really makes any sense.
And he didn't hold back. In a segment that's already gone viral, Stephen A. thundered, "Grow up."
But now, the young white girl comes along and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlin Clark, it's about what she represents. My point is, grow up.
He wasn't talking to Caitlin Clark. He was talking to every player and executive who refuses to acknowledge what's right in front of them. That Caitlin Clark is the reason the league is booming right now. She got you chartered flights, she gave you the ratings, and instead of celebrating her, y'all are resenting her, he said.
They ignored the fact that you got chartered flights because of this girl. They ignored the fact that ratings were going through the roof because of this girl. Instead, they resented it because they said, yo, we were doing stuff long before Caitlin Clark got here, and y'all wasn't paying attention then.
That wasn't opinion, that was fact. The numbers back it up. The Indiana Fever have the highest attendance in the league, both at home and on the road. Some teams even moved venues to accommodate Clark's crowds. Viewership for WNBA games with Clark, over 1 million. Without her, under 400,000. So when Caitlin Clark suffered a quad strain and was ruled out for 2 weeks, panic spread like wildfire. Ticket prices plummeted, entire sections went unsold, sponsors got nervous, fans declared boycotts.
think Stephen A is 100% correct on this. At the end of the day, you already see people actually saying, hey, I'm not watching for 2 weeks. I'm not tuning in for 2 weeks. And it's really bad news for the Mystics and the Sky, because both of those teams moved those games to big arenas. So it's like, now that she's not playing, what is that attendance going to look like? The viewership, right? The viewership is going to plummet. I already know, because majority of the people that's watching the Indiana Fever wants to see Caitlin Clark. And sad to say it, a lot of them only want to see Caitlin Clark. They don't really care about the entire team.
And what did Stephen A do? He turned the pressure dial all the way up. He didn't just go after Reese. He scorched the entire system. He slammed Commissioner Kathy Engelbert for downplaying Clark's importance. He mocked the media for pretending the WNBA's rise was some collective team effort. And he lit into players like Reese, who act like Clark's spotlight somehow steals their shine.
Earlier today that I want to show you right now. Put this tweet up, please, so our audience can see it here. At 4th Gen Bucci, B-U-C-C-I, right? Stephen A. Smith, can the WNBA keep itself afloat while CC, as in Caitlin Clark, is out? End quote. My answer would be yes. I'm not going to summarily dismiss the WNBA, its growing popularity. We get that part. But I'm not going to ignore, nor am I going to take my eyes off of what transpires with the WNBA over the next 2 weeks while Caitlin Clark is out with the quad strain. And the reason why is because, let me tell you something right now. I'm not going to go to word hate. I'm not going to be out there like RG3 was saying that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark or other players hate Caitlin Clark. But I will say this. I don't think it's specific.
She is special, he shouted. She turned this league into must-see TV, and instead of protecting her, y'all let her get hacked, slammed, and assaulted every night with no consequences.
I don't care about her leading the league in assists. I don't care about the points that she's averaging, because I already know that the young lady can ball. She is special.
That's what made this different. This wasn't just jealousy, it was negligence.
And so now that we know all of this, and we've known that for months, now we get to turn around and look and see what exactly is it that the league will do knowing that she's out for the next 2 weeks. I'm not saying I know for sure what's going to happen, but I have an idea.
Stephen A. accused the league of standing by while its biggest asset was targeted, fouled, and eventually injured. And now that she's sidelined, the very people who resented her success are seeing just how bad the league looks without her. Stephen A. didn't mince words. He said flat out, the WNBA had lightning in a bottle, and they acted like it was just another rain cloud. Meanwhile, Reese, the so-called rival, couldn't resist keeping her name in the headlines. From petty shots to subtle digs, she's turned every Clark success into another talking point. And Stephen A. has had enough. He even called out the double standard. When a young white girl dominates, he explained, people say she's overhyped. When other players fail to draw the same crowd, they blame the media, not the reality. Stop fighting it. Caitlin is the show, Stephen A. declared. Either get on board or get left behind.
Because if for some reason there is a precipitous drop-off, then everybody needs to stand down and recognize the fact that the speculation or the assertions and assumptions about her being the golden goose is validated. And if that happens, then you know what, you ride that wave. Rising tide lifts all boats. And if this is the magnetic traction that draws viewers to the WNBA, and her absence over the next 2 weeks due to that quad strain is providing further evidence of that, then everybody needs to accept it, stand down, and ride that wave. I'm going to be really interested in seeing how the ratings are going to look without her over the next 2 weeks. Let's make sure we come back and ask me this exact same question after she's been gone for those 2 weeks.
And here's where things get even more brutal. This isn't just about respect, it's about survival. Because while Reese may have a fan base, Clark has become the economy, the ticket sales, the merchandise, the TV deals. She's not just a player, she's the platform. And with her off the court, the league's flaws are suddenly impossible to hide. That's why Stephen A. snapped, because he saw this coming. Because he warned them, because for months he's watched WNBA insiders undermine the only player who could change their future. And now that she's out, they're all watching the floor collapse. This was never just about trash talk. It was never just about one tweet, one hard foul, or one post-game comment. This is about how the WNBA handles power. Caitlin Clark became the biggest name in women's basketball. And instead of celebrating her, the league tried to downplay her. Instead of protecting her, they let her become a target. Now, that decision is costing them everything. Clark's absence isn't just a 2-week injury, it's a 2-week free fall. Ticket prices slashed in half. Primetime games losing momentum. Entire arenas with empty rows because fans aren't showing up for women's basketball. They're showing up for Caitlin Clark.
Because the majority of the people that's watching the Indiana Fever wants to see Caitlin Clark. And sad to say it, a lot of them only want to see Caitlin Clark. They don't really care about the entire team. Now, honestly, in my opinion, I feel like everybody who is rooting for Caitlin Clark should be rooting for the entire team and watching the entire team and supporting the entire team, because even Caitlin Clark stated that, you know, that's important to her. So I think if you are a diehard fan of Caitlin Clark, that's something you should be focused on and really still showing your support and showing up for this team. Because not one person makes the team. Like, let's just keep it a grand. Caitlin Clark needs a team to get to the championship.
And Angel Reese, knowingly or not, just poured gasoline on that fire. See, Stephen A. wasn't just mad about the shots at Clark. He was furious that Reese and others are still acting like Clark's success came at their expense. That somehow the attention Clark gets is a personal insult. But here's the truth. There was no attention until Clark brought it. That's why Stephen A. snapped, because this wasn't a petty feud anymore. It was a full-blown identity crisis for the league. And while players like Reese continue the back and forth, Clark's silence, her decision to focus on playing, performing, and lifting the league, has spoken louder than anything else. Stephen A. laid it out with ruthless clarity. You can't build a castle and then act surprised when the queen moves in. The message was loud and clear. Clark isn't just good, she's essential. And if the WNBA keeps pretending otherwise, they'll end up right back where they started, begging for airtime and hoping someone still cares. But the damage isn't just financial, it's cultural. The league had a chance to unite behind a generational talent, to turn a rivalry into a celebration of the sport, to uplift all players through the wave Clark created. Instead, too many chose ego over evolution. Too many chose to compete against the spotlight instead of with it. And now, the fans see it, the sponsors see it, the media sees it, and Stephen A. Smith. He's just the only one brave enough to say it out loud. Caitlin Clark was never the problem. She was the solution. And every moment the league spent undermining her, every shoulder check, every snub, every dismissive comment only confirmed what Stephen A. knew all along, that without her, the WNBA is not ready for prime time. And the most ironic part, Stephen A. wasn't even gloating. He was pleading for the league to get it right, to protect its star, to ride the wave instead of swimming against it. Because this isn't just about one season. This is about whether the WNBA can finally grow up and realize what it has. So here we are. Clark is out. The numbers are dropping. The receipts are stacked. And Stephen A. is watching it all unfold like he predicted it from day one. The only question now is, will the WNBA learn from this? Or will Caitlin Clark walk away the moment she realizes she was never truly appreciated? Because one thing's for sure, Stephen A. isn't going to stop reminding them until they do.
This thing got very ugly very quickly, and then Brittany Griner, this guy out of nowhere, comes out, and what happened?
This guy out of nowhere?
Doesn't he shoot without a shirt on? Like, isn't it? I thought it's a trend.
I saw him shooting at his pool.
Yes, you heard it right. Brittany Griner was caught on camera calling Caitlin Clark a trash white girl, and now the entire WNBA is in chaos. But this isn't just about one player losing their temper. What Griner said, and what the league is doing about it, is exposing a double standard that could tear women's basketball apart. Fans are demanding answers, media outlets are exploding, and the league's silence is making things even worse. So what really happened on that court? Why has this one moment blown up an already heated feud between Caitlin Clark and some of the WNBA's biggest stars? And most importantly, why does it feel like no one is protecting the league's biggest rising star? Stay tuned, because once you see the full story, you'll understand why fans are saying this is the WNBA's biggest scandal yet. Brittany Griner's shocking words were caught on live TV. During a heated game, Griner fouled out. And as she walked off the court, cameras clearly captured her mouthing the words, "trash effing white girl," toward Caitlin Clark. The footage went viral almost instantly. Lip readers confirmed what fans suspected, and major commentators like Skip Bayless wasted no time in calling out what they saw.
I don't know for sure what was going on with what cameras caught Brittany Griner saying on the bench after she had fouled out against Caitlin Clark's Fever in Atlanta. I waited to comment on this until the WNBA was able to investigate it. I wanted them to issue a statement about it, but we have heard nothing from the WNBA, absolutely nothing. And Brittany Griner has not commented, which I find significant.
If a white player had said effing black girl on national TV, Skip warned, it would have been a career-ending move.
The league would very much not be okay with a white player saying fucking black girl on the bench in anger and getting caught by TV cameras. That would be an immediate suspension, if not a career ender for said white girl.
But here's where things took an even darker turn. The WNBA did nothing. No suspension, no fine, no official comment. Silence. This.
But regardless of why Brittany Griner said what she said, or at whom she said it, I want to know, is the WNBA okay with one of its players saying fucking white girl on the bench and getting caught by TV cameras saying such? I guess they are. I guess they're okay with it. Obviously,
despite the league's very public No Space for Hate campaign launched earlier this year, fans were outraged. The double standard was blatant. If Clark had been the one to use that kind of racially charged language, the consequences would have been swift and severe. Yet when Brittany Griner hurled that slur on national television, there was no accountability. And let's not pretend this was an isolated incident.
Was playing a game, and this is what Brittany Griner calls. I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittany Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
That pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts to this with Brittany Griner, right?
Caitlin Clark has been targeted from day one. She's been elbowed, shoved, and mocked. Not for dirty play, but simply for being great and being white. We've all seen the clips. Hard elbows on screens. Opponents ramming into her on inbound passes. She's been relentlessly bullied on the court, all while keeping her composure and continuing to set rookie records. And the targeting hasn't stopped at physical play. Remember Angel Reese. After a previous clash with Clark, Reese reposted an image online mocking Clark as a white girl running from the fade, a clear reference to violence.
And I saw that post from Angel Reese, or what I thought was Angel Reese, or whatever I got told was Angel Reese, about the white girl didn't want any of the fade or something like that. I thought it had to be a mistake. Somebody asked me about it, and I said, no, surely to God she would not have even Angel Reese surely realizes not to repost something like that, right? Hell, I guess I was wrong. I guess she did. And so now that I'm really starting to look into this, I'm like, God, not only is this real, but you've got media members that actually do try to hold the WNBA to some kind of responsibility. They're talking about there's no room for hate, this and that and the other one, and you got a player that's blatantly advocating for violence against far and away your most popular player.
No action was taken. Other players have struck Clark in the face, shoved her after plays, and even celebrated it. Hurting Clark has, disturbingly, become a sport of its own. But through it all, Caitlin Clark never retaliates. She never elbows back. She never lashes out. She simply plays her game and continues breaking records. That's what makes this latest incident so damning. Griner's outburst wasn't heat-of-the-moment trash talk. It was deliberate, hateful, and captured clearly on camera.
Put the quote of Brittney Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittney, every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. It's called the freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game. It's very disruptive. It continues. Brittney Griner voiced frustration in a recent interview, claiming that Caitlin Clark is ruining what used to make the WNBA great.
Yet the WNBA, which rushed to investigate fans after unverified claims of racism toward Angel Reese, is now turning a blind eye when racism comes from a player. Commentators scrambled to excuse Griner's words. Some even claimed she said "whack call" instead.
Now, I think it was my old friend Jamel Hill, used to work with her at ESPN. I believe Jamel said Griner actually said fucking whack call, and that could be the case. I'm not a lip reader. But it sure looks to me like the last word is girl, not call.
But the footage doesn't lie. Lip readers, fans, and even sports media personalities confirmed what they saw. Trash effing white girl. And here's where things get even more explosive. As the league remained silent, another controversy reignited, one that's been quietly circulating online for years. Questions about Brittney Griner's biological identity. A topless video from Griner's own Instagram resurfaced, showing a chest that appeared completely flat, without the typical surgical scarring one might expect.
Got my hand right here. Oh! Swag you, Brittney. Let me see something real quick. Brick! Thank you! Get the fuck!
Instagram's AI system didn't flag the video as female nudity. It stayed up for over 100 weeks. Fans took this as yet another sign that something wasn't adding up. Add to that Griner's deep voice, bone structure, and on-court physical dominance, and fans began openly questioning whether Griner has been competing with an unfair advantage. An anonymous viral post even alleged that Griner was never transgender, but a biological male, raised female on paper, due to a decision by her mother.
Like, look, she's not a girl, and she literally grabbed my chest and patted me like that. And was like, look, no titties. And I was so embarrassed.
Extreme? Maybe. Disturbing? Definitely. But the real scandal is this: the WNBA refuses to address any of it. In a league where fairness and transparency are supposed to matter, fans are now questioning everything, especially when Caitlin Clark, a biologically female athlete, is the one taking the hits. And if that wasn't enough to ignite outrage, many still remember Griner's past controversies. She was arrested in Russia for carrying cannabis, then freed in a controversial prisoner swap that traded a notorious arms dealer, the Merchant of Death, for her release.
WNBA star Brittney Griner convicted today on drug charges in Russia. A judge sentencing her to 9 years in a penal colony.
As one commentator bluntly put it, had that been a straight white girl, she'd probably still be rotting in a Russian prison.
Where's the victimhood? These are freaking millionaires. Like, what are you talking about? It's attitude, it's no humility, just entitlement, and that's not confidence, it's arrogance with receipts. Okay, if you want fans, if you want your league to grow, act like a professional, okay? The league already started underwater, and instead of fixing it, they're just poking more holes in the boat. And think about it, Brittney Griner talking all that trash. We traded the Merchant of Death for your ass, and you're out there talking shit and saying racist shit on the freaking sideline, and it's disgusting. Okay, that's why nobody watches it, and it'll
they're
lose
watching
money.
it.
Yet, despite all this, Griner remains protected by the league. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, the rookie single-handedly saving the WNBA's viewership, continues to be bullied, targeted, and now racially insulted without protection. Fans see it, the media sees it, and the silence from WNBA leadership is deafening. Neutral fans who tuned in to watch Clark are now watching her get abused, with no consequences for the players involved. And the hypocrisy couldn't be clearer. If a white player said effing black girl, Skip Bayless warned again, it would be a career ender. So why is it okay to racially target Caitlin Clark, but a complete scandal if the reverse happened. That's the question burning through every fan forum and media outlet right now. And until the WNBA addresses this blatant double standard, its credibility will continue to crumble, no matter how many "no space for hate" slogans they slap on the court. The WNBA now stands at a crossroads. Brittany Griner's words have ignited a firestorm of controversy. Caitlin Clark's fans are furious, neutral viewers are stunned, and the league's silence is making it all worse. The fact is simple. Caitlin Clark has done nothing but elevate women's basketball. She's broken viewership records. She's brought millions of new fans to the sport. She's the Rookie of the Year, a finalist in MVP voting, the face of the WNBA. Yet the players targeting her, physically, verbally, racially, are being protected by the very league she's helping to save. And let's be clear, this isn't just about trash talk anymore. It's about fairness. It's about integrity. And it's about whether women's sports will continue to be a space where biological women compete on a level playing field. Because if the WNBA won't protect its biggest star from this kind of abuse, what message does that send to every young girl watching? What message does it send to every female athlete who dreams of playing at the highest level? Here's the truth. Fans aren't going to stay silent anymore. The footage is out. The words are clear. The hypocrisy is obvious. And the league's attempt to sweep it under the rug is only adding fuel to the fire. If Brittany Griner can call Caitlin Clark a trash white girl on live TV with zero consequences, while Clark remains the model of professionalism, then the WNBA has a serious credibility problem on its hands. And fans are already voting with their wallets and their voices. The league must choose: enforce its own standards, or risk losing the trust of the very audience it claims to serve. So if you stand with Caitlin Clark, if you believe in fairness, integrity, and real accountability in women's sports, don't stay silent. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below to let the world know you see exactly what's happening. Because the only way this double standard ends is if the fans demand it. And we'll be right here, keeping the spotlight on every step of this story.